Holy God, the entrance of your word brings light. It gives understanding to the simple. And so let the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and Redeemer. Amen. Please be seated. Every Lent we go through teaching series. And the teaching series for 2024, we started by the grace of God last Sunday. The central theme remains the theme of conference, Arise and Build, anchored on Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 18. Last week, we started with the first sub-theme, building on a good foundation. We quickly looked at the essentials of a good foundation of any structure. And we said that engineers will tell you, the foundation must not allow the structure to move laterally. That means it must be locked. We linked that to our faith because there are so many faith and doctrines flying around. So lock your own faith in God. The second one, it said any foundation should be able to counter any unequal settlement in the soil due to displacement. And that means assault will come, shakings will come. You must be able to stand. Your foundation must be able to stand, irrespective of the shaking and from wherever it comes. And then thirdly, engineers will tell you, the whole load of the structure must be spread across sufficiently wide area. And that is where values come in. What are your values? It cannot just be one. If you look at the corporate value that we want to share in Methodist Church, particularly Wesley Chapel, there are 5. We talked about reverence in worship. We talked about timeliness, consciousness. We talked about mutual respect. We thought, that 5 stated out there. So those 3 we quickly talked about. And we said that every building must have a building plan. And we said that you can go through the Bible. You will find the building plan for everything you want to build in life. You want to build your home? There's a building plan. Go to Ephesians 5. You want to build a home? Go to, Peter tells you what the husband should do, the wife, the children. You want to build your business? We had Proverbs, which we'll use as our text, Proverbs 24, verse 27. Proverbs 24, 27. The NLT version says, develop your business first before building your house. That means all the resources you have in life, use it to develop your business first before you think about pleasure of building a personal house. But today, we are looking at building a career. Building a career. What's a career? A career is a profession or work for which you train and pursue as permanent calling. It is a series of positions you hold within a particular field: medicine, law, engineering, farming, teaching. So many professions, so many careers. The training that you receive for your career could come through 1, formal education. Going to primary school, going to secondary school, going to the university. It could also mean some technical institutions of learning, polytechnics, trade centers, where you sit and receive formal training. It could also come through apprenticeship. Somebody has achieved something good in a particular field, and then you go under his tutelage to learn over time. And after a while, you are certified as qualified to hold your own in that place. Every career is meant to be an integral part of a vocation. Every career. Medicine, law, engineer, any career is meant to be an integral part of a vocation. And so what is vocation? Vocation is the meaningful work through which you serve others. That's vocation. It is the meaningful work, your sphere of influence, which most likely you got through your career. And God calls you to serve others, to influence others, to impact lives. So the career is an integral part of your vocation. God wants us to be part of a larger vision, His plan for the world. He has called everybody into a vocation, but not everybody responds. We all struggle to have a career. And any time, and that is why, see, if you look at Colossians chapter 3, verses 23 to 24. Colossians 3, 23 to 24. And whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord, and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ. Where there is no link between a career and a vocation, you miss it. If you go to Luke chapter 16, you will read the parable of a beggar called Lazarus and a rich man. You know the story. Lazarus sat at the gate of the rich man, waiting for crumbs with sores all over. The rich man never looked his way. They both died. We were told that Lazarus went to heaven, the rich man to hell. The rich man did not go to hell because he was rich. It was because he concentrated only on his career. He never keyed into a vocation. If you go to Luke chapter 12, you read the parable of the rich fool. The Bible calls him the rich fool. He was a successful person, and his farm brought forth bountifully harvest, and he said to himself, see, all this bountiful harvest, what will I do with it? The small barns I'll have, I will pull them down. I'll build a bigger one. Then I'll say to my soul, relax. And that night, the Lord said, you fool, who is the owner of your soul? And tonight you are coming home. He did not link his career to a vocation. And this is the kind of people that when you tell them to write their profile, they can put a self-made man who does not suffer fools gladly. Those are the kind of people. Because it is their career. My own hand has brought me all this. I pray that if there's anyone here pursuing a career and you don't have a vocation yet, your eyes are not open to where you are to serve others, to make impact. You might, I don't want us to end like the rich man in the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. And I don't want us to end like the rich fool. Building a career starts with knowledge. I'm talking about the building blocks now. It starts with knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge you gain from infancy. The moment you are born and you open your eyes and your ears, what you hear, what you see, what you are told, what you perceive, any information, that is knowledge. And you gain knowledge until the day you die. The building block, everything starts with knowledge. Then from knowledge comes understanding. Understanding is now looking at all the knowledge, all the information, all the facts, and putting them together in their right perspectives. That is understanding. It is a gift from God. And anytime you pray, remember to ask God, give me understanding. That was what Solomon asked. He said, give me, we always say he's asked for wisdom. Some versions will tell you wisdom. He said, give me an understanding heart. It's a gift. Because you can misuse knowledge, you know it. Knowledge comes through the internet, good, bad. How do you put them in their right perspectives? You can only do that with understanding. And that was what we talked about. The people of Issachar, the tribe, minimum number. But the Bible said when they wanted to make David king at Hebron, he said the people of Issachar had understanding of the time. It's a gift from God. And then you come to wisdom, which is knowledge guided by understanding. Another gift from God. Knowledge is free. You get it. As I'm talking now, you are getting knowledge. When you look to your left or your right, you are getting knowledge. But how do you use it? How do you put them together? This one is good, this one is bad. I can use this here, I can use that. That is understanding. When you now apply it practically, it becomes wisdom. Now, a person starts to develop interest in a career from the natural interest, the knowledge gain, the understanding that comes. And that is why you see, by the time your child gets to maybe secondary school, you can now start to ask them, what will you like to be? What career will you like to pursue? And he or she will answer you from what he or she has learned over time, the kind of interest, the kind of knowledge that has come their way. I want to be a doctor. Why? Because the child is doing well in sciences. Because he loves science subjects. I want to be a soldier. Because he's seen somebody smartly dressed in army uniform. And so a vision starts. That is where vision is mental image of the future. I'm still on career. I'm saying that after knowledge, after understanding, after wisdom, you now start to develop interest in the future. What do I want to be? And that is where career starts to build up. And a vision comes. This is the line I want to pursue. And vision is the mental image of the future. I served in a bank. And they said those who served should come for interview. It was a bank. And I went for the interview. I read accountancy and finance. And one of the interview was going very well. And all of a sudden, one of the interviewers asked me, how do you see yourself in 5 years' time? And I scratched my head. I said, in 5 years' time, I will be a chartered accountant. I will be a chartered banker. He said, so have you registered with the institutes, ICANN, CIBN, and have you started to take the exam? I hadn't started. I hadn't. I stumbled. I said, no, sir. And he looked at me. And in 5 years' time, you want to be a chartered accountant. You want to be a chartered banker. You have that vision. But you have not done anything about it. When I left that interview that day, I went to Victoria Island. I went to collect forms. 2 years to that time, I became a chartered accountant. 3 years to that time, I became a chartered banker. Vision without plan is failure. Please say after me. Vision, say after me. Vision minus plan is equal to failure. Where there's vision, there must be a plan. But where there's vision and plan and no action, it is equal to frustration. Say after me. Vision plus plan minus action is equal to frustration. Now say after me. Vision plus plan plus action is equal to success. That is it. That is how to start the building. There will be challenges when you are building a career. You will face challenges. Wasn't, maybe because I read accountancy. But when I went into banking, there was another young friend. We worked together in the bank. And we said, let's go and do the exam together. And we're doing it and we're passing. Then we came to the last paper. They call it Practice of Banking 2. When we failed it about 3 or 4 times, we looked at ourselves. We said, see, we are chartered accountant. Why are we worrying us? This thing, we are failing it every day. We read, we buy books, we attend evening classes. Then somebody looked at us one day and said, Practice of Banking 1, Banking 2. Don't you know that is the course that they use to control the number of intake that they admit into the profession? You think they are not guarding it? They want everybody to stroll in. He said they use it to control if they said this year, we will only admit 40 members. If number 40 scores 80, and number 41 scores 79 over 100, you fail. We didn't give up. We passed. The first vehicle I bought, every Saturday I must make sure I spend the whole Saturday with the mechanic so that I can go out in the evening to parties. I will be there very early before another car comes, 8. Then I will see. There's nothing I didn't know about those mechanics. My particular mechanic had 2 apprentices. The way he treated them, the way he used to beat them with wire, whatever. I will beg him, this is too much. 5 or 6 years later, I drove around that place. Of course, I had a better car by the grace of God then. And I saw one of them. I said, what are you doing here? Are you still with your guy? He said, no, this is my own workshop. What about that, the second one? He said, your guy, he left that time. You know the way our guy used to beat us, he couldn't take it. He left. Because he could not take the challenge. He couldn't. He couldn't take the challenge. He couldn't take the suffering. He couldn't take what comes up when you are pursuing a career. People fail exam and they turn their back. A business fail and they turn their back on it, not struggling to say, let us see what we can do to revive this business. Challenges will come. You will need a mentor. I went to Lagos State Polytechnic. That's where I read accountancy. And my classmate, who was former managing director of First Bank, shared a testimony with us. He said, I made grade 1. I wanted to go to university because I could get into the university. Then my uncle called me and said, what do you want to study? And I told him accountancy. And he said, where do you want to go? I said, maybe University of Lagos. Why do you want to go to University of Lagos to study accountancy? Go to Polytechnic, go to Yaba Tech or Lagos State. He said, why? You want to be an accountant? The ultimate is to become a chartered accountant. You see, in the Polytechnic, that's what the man was telling him. He said in the Polytechnic, they tailor their curriculum to that of ICANN. You know that when we entered year 1, we didn't know, he didn't tell us. He was taking the professional exam. When we were in year 1, he passed the first leg. He didn't tell anybody. when we were in year 2, using the class instruction without reading again, he passed part 2. We went out in June or July. November of that year, he finished ICANN. Because there was a mentor. There was somebody guiding, telling him this is. And we still need mentors today. You know, years back, we had these mentoring sessions every month with our youth. Unfortunately or regrettably, when we got to the stage of being practical about it, we failed. And when one fails, you can still go back. I still believe that the committee charged with the responsibility to do this can still go back and do it. Power of information. Power of information. Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. When you are building a career, what kind of information is available to you? What is the knowledge you are getting? How many of us know, over 60 here, that Lagos State government has a scheme for retirees who don't want to sit at home? They have where they can place you to come in as volunteer. To come in as volunteer and work. How many of us know that Central Bank of Nigeria has schemes for small and medium-scale enterprises? Some people are accessing it, but some people are struggling without knowing. How many of us know that the Bank of Industry has its own schemes? How many of us know that NNPC collaborates with some organizations to give scholarships, even if you want to go abroad? I sent one out on Friday to our platform, NNPC and CEPLAT. And what I did, I saw it on another platform, but I went and Googled NNPC CEPLAT. I saw the authentic thing and I posted it. So some people will get information and move ahead in their career, where some people fail to get information. Because the skills you acquire, training and retraining, is very essential. In your career, make sure you do not get promoted beyond your level of competence. Many people get promoted beyond the level of their competence, particularly as they go higher and higher in any organization. And so a doctor becomes medical director of a very large health institution. The doctor is no longer required to consult. Through his or her career, technical knowledge has been gained, excellent knowledge, but no longer required. Of course, at any level, you will still use that knowledge in formulating policies. But what is required at that stage is managerial and administrative capabilities, which you were not taught in medical school. And so you must look at that gap. A skills gap exists immediately. A pilot becomes a chief pilot. He no longer has to fly because there are now many pilots. He becomes the managing director of he's no longer flying. What he's now doing is managing people, assets, resources. And if you don't know how to manage people, you don't know how to manage resources, no matter how highly skilled you are, you and the organization will fail. Because you have been promoted beyond your level of competence and you don't know how to react. How do you react? You ask for training. If it is your company, you go and train yourself. You look at Lagos Business School. What I don't know how to manage people. I don't know how to relate with people well. I don't know how to plan, organize, delegate, supervise, which is now my job. I'm no longer consulting. I'm no longer carrying the beams for the engineering work because we have them all over. So you go to HR. If HR doesn't agree, you ask for your annual leave. 4 weeks. Out of that 4 weeks, you pay by yourself from your own pocket 1 week course that will train you and retrain you and help you to acquire those skills. Even if it's your business, you should know when you go out to acquire new skills, new capability to be able to excel at a particular level. Train yourself if self-employed. Ask for training in paid employment. You know, in the 90s, sometime in the 90s, the first round of exodus, migration took place amongst professionals in Nigeria. Then I think it was because of political unrest, mostly political unrest. They went to Canada, they went to US. Within 2 years, those set that went, they excelled more than our friends and colleagues who had been abroad for 10, 15 years. All of them. And we try to find out, what did you do when you got there? That was when project management course. That was when project management was first became or started to trend. So 6 months course. Even some 3 or 4 months, they just went for project. And before they finished, they got very fantastic jobs. Very fantastic jobs. Information. Acquiring skills. Training and retraining yourself. Very, very important. And of course, when they got there, what did they do? They changed, many of them changed their careers. And that is what is currently trending now, career change. Ask all those who are going to Canada. Ask all those who are going to anywhere. Most of them, they get into career change. So your mind must be open. You must be ready for career change. Ask them. Those who are close to you, they will tell you the truth. And for you to get into career change, when you get there, you must go and do another set of training. Some of them are just 3 months. Some of them, 6 months. But the moment you do it and you get into the system, you start to thrive. And those who have been there for ages will be looking at you. Look at the person that just came. Those who struggle today out there when they leave is because they cannot quickly get into career. You don't have to travel to get into career change. It is never too late to go back to school. It is never too late to train yourself. Never. As long as you have breath in you. Never too late for a career change. Never too late to go back to school. Never too late to acquire a new skill. We operate today in a digital age. Digital age. Anyone that is out of it, if your business, no matter what, even if you are selling, if you are not operating in the digital age, at least you are not marketing yourself, your products, your business will go out maybe within the next 1 or 2 years. Everybody. We've heard about artificial intelligence. Like Dr. Otokwe Oshikoya has told us, and I quite agree with him. What's artificial intelligence? It's just knowledge that cannot stop. You cannot stop what they are saying, let's moderate it. You can't stop it. 40, 50 years ago or 30 years ago, there were films we watched and they were tagged science fiction. Why did they call them science fiction? Because somebody would now sit in front of a TV screen and be talking to somebody and we'll be seeing the person. And then we used to laugh, this is science fiction. How can you see the person you are talking to live like that? We used to laugh. It's no longer science fiction. So right there, you can bring out your phone now, talk to somebody, but it was science fiction. Star Trek, they will be moving around the moon in the spacecraft. And we say, like, this can never happen. It's no longer science fiction. OpenAI, that's a firm at the forefront of developing what they call artificial intelligence. It's not artificial, it is incremental knowledge. which you cannot stop. You know, they developed something called Chat GPT. It's free. Even banks are now using it to, like we use Canva. You know that's Canva that we use in designs, posters. Chat GPT is free. Banks use it now to do their own AI. So they can tell you can talk to a robot. You can call a machine. You go and use a free app. What are we doing in our own businesses, in our own career? How are we operating in the digital age? But above all, glorify yourself. Glorify God in your career. Link your career to a vocation. Get a calling from God. That all the skills you have acquired to build a career is to be linked to a vocation. So that we don't end up like the rich fool or end up like the rich man who was with Lazarus. Make manifest the love of God in your profession. Let people see you and see Christ in you, in your work. Whether it's in the hospital, in the law courts, on the farm, on the trenches. Let people see God in you. They are debating about tithes today. Getting to 240 years now. 240. William Colgate started the firm you know today as Colgate-Palmolive. Many of us have used one or two of their products this morning. One of the top corporations, not only in the US, but in the world. He developed it about over 230 years ago. William Colgate, a young man who struggled. And the man who told him on the boat when he was going to New York, he said, when you start to make soap, remember to pay your tithe. It is on record that William Colgate increased his tithe from 10% to 20%. And the remaining 80 was too much. He increased it to 30. He increased it to 40. He increased it to 50. 230 years ago. And Colgate-Palmolive is standing. He linked his career, soap making, to a vocation. Let us bow our heads. Talk to God. Ask God, Lord, do I have a vocation? If you have it, you'll know it. I know my career. What are the challenges in your career? Ask God. Give me strength. Give me power to overcome. Let me not fail. Let me not be discouraged. Let me not faint. Let me not give up. Show me the way. If I'm on the wrong path, Lord, show me. Show me the right path. Let me not queue up on the wrong lane or be on the wrong queue. Give me the strength, the fortitude to forge forward, to forge ahead. Help me. Ask God for help. Ask God to open your eyes to see the vision, the vocation that God has for you. And tell him to help so that your career will not be without a vocation. Thank you, gracious Father. But we pray through Jesus Christ, our Lord.